BookTube. So I've been gone a number of weeks unexpectedly due to my dog Tucker dying back at the beginning of January. He got sick with pneumonia. He was fine up until then, and then within 8 hours of him getting sick, he was gone. The vets think maybe he had maybe swallowed, instead of throwing up vomit, maybe he had swallowed it, but he was with me all day long and I didn't see him do the gagging, throwing up motion, so I'm not exactly sure, and they aren't either. They're speculating that might be what it was, but so anyway, I've been grieving and I don't know, really missing him because he was such a presence in my life. I'm sure a lot of you dog owners know, the very first thing in the morning and the very last thing before you go to bed is focused on your dog, taking them out to use the bathroom. And I'm just the daily, he was with me always, especially working from home. He was inches from me at all times. And I'm very grateful for this last year, almost, it's been almost a year of working from home, because I always felt bad, being out of the house for 9 hours and him not being able to, interact with humans or go to the bathroom. So yeah, anyway, I'm glad to, and overall, I'm glad to have spent the 11 years I had with him. He was almost 13 when he died, and yeah, he lived a very great long life. And so now I'm getting back into BookTube, and I feel I keep saying that, but it's been a rough 6 months with my cat dying and moving, and then now my dog dying. It's been a whirlwind, but luckily on BookTube, there's lots of great events coming up, and I'm back to talk about one of my favorite childhood books series, the Little House on the Prairie series, and Elizabeth over at Lizzie Faye Loves Books, she is hosting this event along with I think a couple other booktubers, and I just had to join in. And so I've already read, this is going from today, Sunday, the 7th through the 10th. And so I'm trying to focus all about the Little House on the Prairie theme. And so I'm not just going to focus on the books, the series themselves, because I've read them a multitude of times. They really sparked my interest in historical fiction when I read them in elementary school. And the Lewis has never died for that. And so I've read today A Little House Sampler, a collection of early stories and reminiscences by Laura Ingalls Wilder and her daughter Rose Wilder Lane. And this is a compendium of her newspaper writing, her articles, and her daughter's articles as well, because her daughter was a famous writer, but even before Laura was. And the daughter Rose interviews Almanzo, and you can tell he wasn't a very outspoken person, because his answers were yes, no, and she had written it all down, and so he wasn't much of a talker. But it was interesting to actually see what his thoughts on some things were. And this goes through, it's kind of a mini biography in a way, because it goes through their life. From when Laura is first writing her stories about being a child up until when Rose dies herself. And before each little short story, it has a description of giving you in italics here on the background of where the story originated, and a little bit more in depth on what the story is talking about. And so yeah, I really like this. And I actually, it's kind of I don't know, a mini book haul in a way as well, because I got this in another book after rereading Prairie Fires a couple weeks ago, because I needed some comfort reading. I did a bunch of rereading, and as I mentioned, the Little House on the Prairie series has always been a go-to in a way, and so, or not a go-to, but always been a nice comfort, childhood read, and so I wanted to reread that. And so when I went to a bookstore for book therapy, I got this along with a couple other books as well, since my mind was on it. It was perfect timing for this readathon. And then I have one on the Kindle, and it's just one actually, which is, I don't know, kind of weird, but for me at least, because I don't own that many books. But all the other ones are books that I own, so that would be a nice nice change. And this is Images of America, DeSmit, written, or like, not, well, I don't know, edited or written by the Laura Ingalls Wilder Memorial Society. And I don't know if any of you have seen these. And I've seen them at Barnes & Noble, like these little, like whatever area you're in, they'll have some about your location. And I've never read these. I've never really been interested in these, but I don't know how many books there are about the the history of DeSmit. So like I thought would be interesting, and I picked it up before I realized that it was put together by the Laura Ingalls Wilder Memorial Society. So I'm sure this will also include a bit about maybe her life or her family, maybe where they settled and on their impact on it. I'm not sure, but so yeah, there's that one. And this was really short. I think it's like around 100 pages. Used to be kind of really slim, and so this will be a fast read for me. And then I have West from Home, Letters of Laura Ingalls Wilder, San Francisco, 1915. And I've read this before, I think. I know I've read not West from Home, but the Away from Home, or where she's moving from DeSmit to Missouri. And I've read that one, so maybe I'm mixing that up with this one. I might not have read this one. I'm not sure. I'll know when I get into it, because this is going to be my next pick since I finished the sampler. And this is about her time, Laura's time visiting Rose, because I mentioned Rose was an author, and so she was writing in San Francisco. And so Laura went over to visit with her, and so she was there, but her, Almanzo stayed on the farm to keep things running, and so she was writing home to him, talking about all the things that she was seeing, and I think she also was at a World's Fair or something like that, she was visiting. So she also talked about like Missouri's representation in San Francisco and all like the different foods she was eating and the sights. And so this will be interesting for me to read, because I've driven through Missouri a couple of times, and I lived in right near San Francisco for a summer, like 6 months. And so I visited there quite a bit as well. And so I have I don't know, I can kind of like see in my mind like the different landscapes and see. So we'll see how she compares them. And let's see, there's also some pictures in here as well of San Francisco. There's like a ferry tower, and it has the 1915 there. And there's like boats and I know this is the airplane, but there's boats on this other page. Here's the beach. So yeah, this will be a nice quick read. It's like really large margins, and I'm always interested in because there's not that many books left of Laura's that I haven't read, so this will be added to the list. And then I have I remember Laura, America's favorite storyteller, as remembered by her family, friends, and neighbors, by Stephen W. Hines. And this is the other book that I picked up recently at a bookstore. And this, I think, also it's will be a quick read, because it's like nice big font and with margin. There's like recipes in here, and this also kind of is along the lines of like the mini biography in a way, following her life, because this seems to be like recreating that maybe through the voices of the people she knew. I'm not sure, but we'll see. It's like let's see. Yeah, Friends and Travelers, the personal recollections of Netta Seal. And I know from reading her biography that Netta Seal was a companion, like later in life, like she and her husband, Seal's husband, was helping them drive around. And in fact, outside of her going to San Francisco, when Almanzo was able to go on vacation with her, they drove out west to Oregon and did this loop going and also visiting South Dakota on their way. And Netta and her husband were the drivers for that. So anyway, I don't know, I got on this tangent here, but yeah, this will be interesting. But I wanted to break from this one first, since it's kind of like a biography, before I read this one. So this will probably be the last book I read. And then, speaking of last book, this is the last book I'm talking about here, is A Little House of Their Own, the Caroline Years by Celia Wilkins. And I have the first and the last book. I think this is the last book in the series. I have, it's up here. Little House in Brookfield by Mary D. Welks. and this is when Caroline was a little girl in 1845 in Brookfield. And so I have one, and I don't know what number this is, but I know that Elizabeth was talking about how she had wanted to maybe like focus on the series that aren't Laura Ingalls Wilder series, Little House, like because it follows her great grandmother, her grandmother, her mom, Caroline, and then her daughter Rose. In between Laura's her own stories, and so Elizabeth was talking about how I'm not sure if it's for the specific readathon or if she wants to do it all of the whole course of the year, because there's quite a few, but she was saying that she couldn't really do that because a lot of these are out of print, and they can be hard to find, and some are very expensive. And so I got this like a month or so ago at a library book sale for like $1, and then I was like, oh, I didn't know these were worth any money or anything like that. So because I never really, I don't pay attention to that kind of stuff, but I happened to look at this one, because this is like, of all the ones I have that are part of this like little series here, the Little House series, like following the different parents' years, the ancestral years. I don't know, I didn't pay attention, but this was like, I don't know, like $200 or something, and I paid $1 for it, but I'm not gonna sell it because of all the ones I have, this is one I'm most interested in, because this is about how Caroline and Charles met, and like their story. I'm thinking, yeah, she runs into Charles. Okay, yeah, while she's teaching at a school, and so yeah, I will enjoy this and savor it all the more, because I guess it's really hard to get hold of, and I didn't know that. But anyway, those are the books I'm going to be reading until the 10th, and then after that, I'm probably going to focus on some like not comedy, but like romantic comedy or romance books for Valentine's Day, and so that'll be a nice break from all the serious stuff, because I haven't been able to really digest those that well. Like I just finally finished the Sylvia Plath book biography that I read back in November for Nonfiction November, and then I took a break in Christmas for reading all the Christmas books and like end of the year stuff, and then also I had to go back to the library, so it was like it all worked out, and then I just picked it up a couple weeks ago, and oh my gosh, and that was very depressing, and I was already depressed, and so that we just added to like my glum attitude. I was like, oh, I need some light books, and so this is just perfect timing, and for me to ease my way back into things. And I do plan on making more videos, and so this will be a quick way for me to ease myself back into making videos. So yeah, I really missed it. Like when I was gone with Winnie and moving, like I really missed BookTube. So I do want to make an effort and to comment and make videos again. And like, I don't know, like, unless something else tragic happens to me, then then we'll see. But fingers crossed that won't happen, and it'll be a nice 2021, better than 2020 was. But we'll see. Anyway, I'm just rambling here now. But I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, BookTube.